This was in 2019. If you remember, there were a lot of farmers which were committing suicide and were dying because of the heat, the extreme heat. And this
Yeah.
was before the pandemic, and there were no resources for these farmers, and it was a massacre, so to call it, because there were no privileges which were given to them by the government as well. So they were just struggling, and they were counting the days on their 10 fingers which they had to live.
Hmm.
So, and that's when I, as a small kid with big spectacles, decided to do something about it. So what I did was, I created this robot called Kisano Bot, and what it does is similar to its name. It's an assistant to the farmer. So the robot basically helps the farmer do everything. The robot plows the field, then it sows the seed, waters it, does the humidity, temperature check, everything, all of it. And the only thing that has to be done by the farmer is that after a few workshops, which will be organized by a team of engineers, the farmers would learn how to operate these robots, and that's what they would do.
Hey, this is your host Meenakshi Srivastava, also known as MyBohoVoyage, and I welcome you to another amazing episode of Inspiring Explorers. And as the name suggests, Inspiring Explorers is all about inspiring you with the inspiring life journeys of some of the most successful personalities from around the world, and they also share with us some interesting travel experiences that are not limited to sightseeing. And this time on Inspiring Explorers, we have an inspiring explorer who is a super kid. A kid who has been an entrepreneur since he was just 11 years old, Palaash Jadhav. Palaash Jadhav, at just the age of 14, is the co founder of a gift store called One Last Chapter, encouraging people to read more, and the author of Cafe Au Lait. Not just that, when he was only 11 years old, Palaash designed a robot named Kisano Bot, who, as the name suggests, was made to assist and help the Kisans, the farmers of India, with working in the dying heat. In this episode, we'll decode the thought process of this kid's smart brain. So tune in for getting your mind blown. And before we start this episode, let me tell you that you can watch all my Inspiring Explorer episodes on my YouTube channel named MyBohoVoyage, spelled as MyBohoVoyage, or you can listen to them on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Just search for Inspiring Explorers on the apps and you'll find the show. Also, all the links are mentioned in the description box below. Also, come connect with me on Instagram at the rate MyBohoVoyage to catch me and my guests go live on Instagram. So without any further delays, let me welcome our amazing guest for today, Palaash Jadhav.
Hi,
Yes, hi.
how are you doing?
I'm doing
Good
nice. How are you?
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm doing great as well. All right. So, yeah,
So, welcome to Inspiring
yeah.
Explorers, Palaash. I'm super glad that you're on Inspiring Explorers.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Same, super pleasure to have you. So, Palaash, you were an entrepreneur when you were just 14 years of age. And, so I just want to know that what motivated you to be an entrepreneur at such a young age and what was your startup?
Right. So, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and interacting with you. As a 14-year-old, rather 13, when I came up with a lot of different ideas, I always wanted to create something of my own, right? And I was wondering how fun it would be to have something which you could run and to be your own boss. So when my father, we were just discussing this some time before I came up with these ideas. And right after this, I did a course with Clever Harvey. So Clever Harvey is a platform which encourages students to pursue these ideas and actually create them into something which can be scalable, right? So they have this program called a junior MBA, and my dad came across it on Instagram, and he was like, you should check this out, since we were discussing then that I could do something like this, and this would be the perfect opportunity for me to get on it. So that's what I did. I enrolled for their junior MBA course. I completed the CEO course, then the CTO, and then the CMO. And I came up with ART. That stands for Art Revival Tube, ART. And that was the first idea I had. And that is something which I worked on extensively, because that was really fascinating. So art basically was a platform where you could learn these traditional art forms of India which are dying, from the authentic artisans which live in these rural areas. Plus, you could also get these curated art boxes delivered to your house, so you could follow along with the tutorials and then create beautiful art pieces. So that was my first idea. And after that, I'm an avid reader. I love to draw. I'm an avid reader. And then I was like, why don't I transform this into something? So what I did was, I then my friend, my best friend Amrita, and we started a blog, a very simple blog. It was called One Last Chapter, owing to how you're always yearning for one last chapter, and you're always like एक chapter bas aur ek.
Exactly.
And yeah. So we came up with that name and the blog. And after I think it was like 5-6 months after we consistently posted on that blog every Sunday at 12, that's when we came up with this idea. And when I was brainstorming, and I was like, as a reader, I'm always looking for these gifting options where I can gift it myself or other people, these hampers, or just a box filled with these amazing books and merchandise related to that. And I was like, I already have a platform, which is my blog, One Last Chapter. Why don't Amrita and I turn this into a business as well? So we started a side hustle, the shop, and what we started doing was we created these awesome curated hampers which you could give to yourself or others, and completely personalized. So you would get a lot of things, including books, stickers, bookmarks, coffee, tea, whatever you can choose. And the highlight of that box is you also get a pack of seeds. So when you start reading the book, you could also sow the seeds. So by the
Wow.
time you're done reading the book, you would have sprouted a new life. So,
Wow.
it's like a whole experience to get all together. In a few months down the line, we also started selling candles, and in January we released our desk calendar set and lots of different things. So that's my journey, and that's where I am right now. And we also started posting on Instagram. And we suddenly grew from a platform and a community of 25 to 490 something, and now closely reaching 500. So yeah, that's pretty cool, and that's where we are right now.
That's amazing that you're doing, and that idea of bringing the seed is like something really unique. Like by the time a reader
Yeah,
is
yeah,
reading the book and they're completing it, they already have a plant with them, and you can like
yeah,
literally watch your journey. You can capture time through
yeah,
those
yeah,
plants.
yeah.
Like
That's the agenda. Yes.
beautiful, beautiful idea, Palash. Like, I'm very inspired by this that at such a young age you're thinking about all of these things, and
Thank you so
like such
much.
an inspiration for all the kids and teenagers that how you can utilize internet for the benefit of your future rather than just wasting time on just scrolling through endlessly without thinking. So, I would also like to ask that while you started your business and you started merchandising, so you must have faced certain challenges of outsourcing the products, then delivering it. So, what were those challenges between starting and actually making that idea work?
So of course, I'm 14, so I have school. In part, I'm in ninth. I was in ninth grade, and now I'm in 10th. It's difficult, especially since I have school. So managing that plus the extracurriculars and the side business, it's difficult for sure. And especially now, for these stickers, bookmarks, and all of it, which I mentioned, every small detail which goes into the box has to be designed by someone, right? And when we started off, we were not at a position where we could outsource those designs. So I was the
Exactly.
one who had to design all of that and get it printed, then cut all of it. And there was a phase in the start where we were such a stage that I had to sit and hand cut the sticker sets which used to go into the packets.
Yeah,
Because yeah, to get those die cut stickers, you have to place an order in bulk. And of course, why invest that much if you're not received a significant amount of orders? So
exactly.
that's what, so I had to sit and I had to cut these stickers, and then make sure that it does not go wrong. And it was a time consuming process, because I'm sure you can imagine that if I get even a single cut wrong at that stage, it's a lot of money which goes on the drain for me.
Exactly.
So that was a significant challenge which I faced. Other than that, designing, then getting all of this stuff cut and cutting it, sitting and cutting, then packaging, getting these boxes and outsourcing all of those materials, that is again a challenge, because these vendors, they're pretty as you have to place a bulk order, only
Hmm.
then you get a good deal. Or
Yeah.
it's not worth it, because why will I order 25 boxes for that guy can also not afford it. He'll be like, "Nahi, for 20 boxes I'm not giving it to you at X price."
Huh.
So that was a challenge, and thankfully now that's not a problem. So yeah, those are a few of the challenges which we faced. And another one is obviously motivation. Every Sunday or every Saturday, Amrita getting the will to write the blog, and me wanting as a getting that motivation to post on Instagram every single day without fail. That is difficult. It's something which you need to foster, and you need to be like, this is my goal, and I need to do this much to reach that goal. So that is the I would say that is the apex of all of the challenges. Nothing can top that off. And I think that is a consistent challenge which we are going to face in the future as well. But yeah, it's all worth it in the end.
That's wonderful. So you mentioned a very good point. To stay motivated is the hardest challenge. So if I may
Yeah.
ask, how do you guys stay motivated along with all the work that you're doing already? Like you're schooling and also you are schooling during the COVID era. Okay, so like how are
Yeah.
those challenges? Like, so you when if I may ask, when did you start your business? It was 2019, I guess.
No, so it was through 2020 in the initial stages of the lockdown.
Okay.
And in fact that's when Amrita and I actually started becoming good friends, and that's when we started this. And yeah, as you mentioned, the COVID batch, as everyone calls us.
Yes.
Thankfully, that won't be the case for me. Hopefully, because my school starts from Monday and it's going to be offline. So
Cool.
great, that's good.
Yeah.
And yeah, the other question where you talk about how we keep ourselves motivated, the main part is seeing the goal, and where these testimonials which we get from our customers, some of them who are repeating. It's great to see that, because when we see how these all of these young people who've never opened a book in their life to read in their leisure time, it's great, because you've made a difference in someone's life, and you've also created a best friend for them, because yeah, that's what books are. Once you start reading them,
Yes.
once you get into reading books, you can never leave your house without one. So seeing that, that is one of the factors which keep us motivated. And apart from that, just going somewhere and telling someone that I have a business, this is it, this is my business card, check it out. That feeling of pride, and it shows that when you sit back and relax and see what you've built, that is something which will keep you motivated, and that you can grow it further. So that's something which keeps both of us motivated for sure.
Wonderful. Kudos to you and Amrita. Both of you have done an amazing job, and that the way that you're telling me that you show around your business cards. And I think at such a young age, bringing that entrepreneurial mindset is amazing. Like you're a true Asian kid, the smart kid.
Thank you. this
Cool.
is this is the time where we can give into those stereotypes.
Yes, you can. All right, cool. So, being the COVID batch that you mentioned, cool. So, how was that ninth being in complete lockdown and not meeting your friends? So, how did you manage being motivated and not going, frustrated? Like, I'm not meeting my friends, I'm young, I still want to do a lot of things going out. So, how did you manage all of that? You as well as your parents, okay? So, I would like to know that how it went up in a high school kids life 2020.
Right. So, ninth was a mix of feelings, definitely a whirlpool of different emotions. Especially the thing was that I was in the student council. I was the head boy. So I was since sixth grade. I've been looking forward to organizing these events offline, and doing a certain amount of activities which are restricted to only the student council. And unfortunately, I was not able to do that. So I was upset for that. But then waking up 30 minutes before your class, that is a pro for sure. And yeah, that's why it was a mix of emotions. Meeting my friends, definitely I met a few of them in the lockdown at maybe once or twice in the month. But apart from that, I did not. That was there. I did not meet a lot of people, and my parents did not really have a problem that to school ja, nothing like that. But then I was
Uh,
also, like I mentioned before, I was looking forward to going to school because I wanted to physically sit in the class and understand. Because when you are actually there, you understand much better compared to these online classes where the camera is off, your mic
mm,
is muted, and no one knows what anyone in the class is doing,
yeah.
because there's just a handful of students who are speaking, and the others, I don't know what they're doing exactly. But in an offline class, I can see everyone, and that's why it's a very immersive experience. So yeah, definitely. So that was a mixture of emotions, but thankfully now it's all come to a stop.
Yes, and also I would like to mention that you also did some Zoom parties, birthday parties, because you were not able to attend. Like in 2020, you guys did a Zoom birthday parties. Did that happen?
Yeah, we did that. We did these, yeah, for a few of our friends. We did not. See, that was the time where everything was new, and it was interesting because this was not a medium which we had explored before. So for a few of our friends, including mine, I think a group of friends of mine, they organized a birthday party for me online, and we did that too for a few of my friends, and that was fun. In fact, this year we also organized a lot of other events like Teachers Day online, and it was fun. But then when I look back at that, I cannot stop thinking about how much more fun it would have been if it was offline. So I'm very, very, very glad that the batch which is going to take over this year in ninth grade, they do not have to go through that, because they will have a lot on their hands, and that's going to be a great experience for them.
Exactly, especially starting high school. I know the feeling. That's when you are looking
Yeah.
forward towards school. Like now we are actual teenagers, so we need to be immersive. Cool. Okay, so and also you write books on Wattpad. So you also have a story. Please let us know about that story in your own words, and also about I would
Right.
like to know about the characters Ingram and Naomi that came into your mind. How did those came into your mind and bringing them into life?
So funny story. I'm co-authoring this book with Sally. She's also a great friend of mine, and we started again owing to my and her common love of reading. We started the book, and we were like, let's write something. And this is, let me remind you, this is not just the first attempt. We've done a lot of attempts before this, and we've failed.
Hmm.
But this is something which we've continued, because this time we're taking it ekdam as a slow, and we're publishing one chapter per month. So there's no rush. Before this, we were in a constant hurry that we're going to complete the book in 1 month. That did not happen. Disclaimer. But yeah, on Wattpad, it's a good experience, because what happens is that you have a deadline. It's not very close, but you get to write, and it's a pleasure working with Sally and writing as well, because I have always wanted to write a book, especially a young adult rom com, if I can call it that. And
Yes.
that's a great experience. So yes, and Ingram and Naomi, they're based on a few friends, and a lot of different their character traits have been taken from everywhere. So coming up with the names, coming up with the whole character, the whole character arc and everything, it was pretty interesting, because I remember we spent quite a lot of time working on them, especially their names. If anyone, if our listeners have also worked on a novel before, they'll know that coming up with a name for a character, it's pretty difficult, because you don't want it to sound too cliche,
Yeah.
and you don't want it to sound like something which no one has ever heard before.
Yeah.
So Ingram, Instagram, slight confusion, but then it was a good thing, which it was a pretty good experience when we started writing, and I'm sure we're going to do great things in the future as well with the book.
Exactly. I read few chapters before this interview, and I was like, I had to literally, push it because I had to take the interview. Otherwise, I would have continued reading. It's like that interesting. You guys are doing really great and way better than a lot of I might say at this age and also at our age, we are not able to put everything into words, and then you guys are making it happen. And those characters seem really interesting, and in the modern times, and running along with the the thoughts of the teenagers currently. So kudos on that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
would like to know the name of the book.
Oh yeah, it's called Cafe Au Lait. And Cafe Au Lait is, for anyone who does not know, is basically a kind of a drink. The idea was that this is a drink which is not very frequently ordered. In fact, you might not even find it on the menu of some places, right? But if you ask for it, then you might probably get it. But and that's what. And Ingram and Naomi both share a common love for Cafe Au Lait, the drink. And when they first meet at that cafe, Ingram is working there, and Naomi comes and orders that late at night, and that's how their friendship starts. And that's why we felt that it was an apt title for the book, because a monumental thing which started as the pillar for that book. So yeah, that's the name.
I'm actually mind blown with the idea and the thought processes that you are putting into this. So, Sally, and you are again doing a great work. Amazing things that you're creating at this age, and the thought process was really wonderful. That the drink that nobody orders, like very few. So
Yeah, yeah.
unique, amazing idea. I cannot believe
Thank you
kids
so
are
much.
doing this. So we can get so much inspired by all of this. So wow, coming up with such ideas is amazing, and I can only see a very bright future for you and can't wait to see the more interesting things that you're going to create with your amazing mind. So, you were also
Thank you.
into robotics in China. So, what was
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
The robot that you created, and again, the idea behind it, your beautiful idea behind it,
Right.
and yeah.
So, yeah, so before, I think this was in fourth or fifth grade or something. I don't exactly remember. I joined this group of science enthusiasts. It was called Science Kids. And what we did was we created, it was a robotics program. So there are multiple levels to it and all of that. And there was a competition called Robotex, which we had entered. And along with this boy called Neil, who was my partner. What I did was, initially, before I met Neil and before Science Kids, I had entered this competition, which was an inter-school one, and we were just said that make a robot which can help solve a problem. And that's when this was in 2019. If you remember, there were a lot of farmers which were committing suicide and were dying because of the heat, the extreme heat. And this
Yeah.
was before the pandemic, and there were no resources for these farmers, and it was a massacre, so to call it, because there were no privileges which were given to them by the government as well. So they were just struggling, and they were counting the days on their 10 fingers which they had to live.
Hmm.
So and that's when I, as a small kid with big spectacles, decided to do something about it. So what I did was, I created this robot called Kisano Bot, and what it does is similar to its name. It's an assistant to the farmer. So the robot basically helps the farmer do everything. Of course, I made a smaller version of it, not the big one, which would actually be in the field. The robot plows the field, then it sows the seed, waters it, does the humidity, temperature check, everything, all of it. And the only thing that has to be done by the farmer is that after a few workshops, which would be organized by a team of engineers, the farmers would learn how to operate these robots, and that's what they would do. They would operate these robots, refill the water, seeds, all of that.
Hmm.
And yeah, and that would make it easier for them, and this could be done throughout the year, 24/7. But mainly this would be very effective in the summer, because that's when the heat actually hits them. We don't realize it because they're sitting in these privileged boxes with air conditioning, but they actually have to rough it out on the field. So maybe they could use that, and that's what. And yeah, so now skipping to the time where I met Teal. He collaborated Then we collaborated with me on this project, and what we did was we added a few more things, modified it, then created a pitch deck about the robot. And yeah, and then we entered robotics. And funny enough, what happened was we did not place first, second, or third. But then the judges decided that we should still go to the national round. So they were like that you've not won, but we still want you to go to the national round because we think that there is things which you could improve upon, but we really like your idea. So yeah, and that was pretty interesting because both Neil and I were in tears by then, because it had been a very long time where we had worked on that robot. Not only that, a lot of effort put into it, and after all, we were just young kids during that time. So, and we started
Yes.
crying and everything. And then I was like, wait, I hear something. And then the judge announced that, and we were very, very, very happy. And yeah, and then we went to Ahmedabad, and that's when we had the national round. So in the national round, there were lots of people from over India. And this was again robotics, and there was a judge from China. In fact, both of the judges were from China. Then there was a CEO of a industrial group as well, and the principal of a university, a very famous university. I don't seem to recall their name, but yes, it was a rigorous competition, and there we had placed second in the national competition. And after that was done, I received a call after returning from there. That's right after I returned at 2 in the night, and six in the morning I had my examination. So I had to go to school and give my history paper, which I had not prepared for. So, and after a few weeks, I received a call from them. And my dad he picked up the phone, and he was like, they want to speak to us. And he put it on speaker phone, and they were like, look, we really like your idea, and there is a conference which is happening in China, and we want you to go there and present your idea. So I was like, wow. and
Exactly.
and yeah, that's when I went to China for a brief span of 4 days. Again, exams. So yeah,
Yeah.
so we went for 4 days, two of which we had the conference. And right after that, for 2 days, it was amazing. There were a lot of different workshops. I got to see what the Chinese work on, the robots they worked on, and all of that. And the whole complex, it was so futuristic where we were stationed. The food, it was lip smackingly delicious. We had a lot of noodles, and a lot of surprisingly, there was a lot of vegan food over there as well, which
Yeah.
was which was delicious. It's not again, not like stereotypes. It's actually
Cool.
pretty interesting and pretty delicious.
Cool.
So that's when the 2 days ended, and we were finally free of the competition, and then we could roam around. So we did that, and there were these we the next 2 days we were stationed in this amazing hotel in the middle of the Chinese, I can say, I guess, Times Square, like New York.
Okay.
And there was just a lot of shops and these things. So that's what we visited. But the main highlight was when we went to this just like this village kind of thing, a smaller part, not a village, but a smaller part of that area.
Hmm.
And there were these amazing pagoda shaped structures in the middle of the water, and then there was a bridge leading to that, and there were a lot of small stalls and stuff, and just these cute mementos and all of that. Just a lot of the kind of Chinese things which we see in movies, right? And it was very,
Okay.
very beautiful. In those structures, you could go and have tea and whatnot, and it was very beautiful. In fact, the water in which there were those buildings, the whole water was filled with these gigantic koi fish, like these big, very, very big.
Wow.
So yeah, that was pretty beautiful. And I remember we visited that place in the night, and it was lit up with these neon yellow lights, and orange and Chinese, traditional Chinese music playing in the background. Very beautiful. And after that, we visited these small shops with these Chinese handicraft articles and all of that. And we bought a few puzzles, and these intricate puzzles which you got. They're just very small 50-piece puzzles, and it
Okay.
just makes a small postcard kind of sized images. It's just very
Wow.
beautiful. And a lot of small articles which your mind would like, my mind was blown when I saw all of this. These small cards would
Cute
open up,
little
and
things.
then there Yeah, just beautiful. And these cards would open up and a boat would suddenly pop out of nowhere and just is very nice. And the Chinese are known for their intricate work with
Yeah.
paper and origami, not origami, but the intricate
Mm.
paper details and all of that, right?
Mm.
So we got to view that firsthand and it was very beautiful. So that's how we spent the third day. And on the fourth day, we visited the more industrial part of China. But I enjoyed the third day more than anything in those 4 days. And that was a very 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 great opportunity which I got, and I'm thankful that I got it because that was right before the pandemic. That was in 2019. That was right before everything just came to an
Stopped.
end. So that was great for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how old were you when you went to China with your robotics idea?
That was 2019, right? So in 2022, I'm 14. So maybe I was 12, 2 years
Yes,
ago,
you were in seventh. So you
3 years ago.
mentioned,
Yeah.
yeah, so cool.
So
You were in
11 or 12 or something. Yeah. No, I
seventh.
think I was 10 running because I'm born in December. So 10 running or 11 or something like that. But
Cool. So you were really young when you created this thing for
yeah, yeah,
Kisans.
really, really young. Yes.
Yes. So like a lot of us just post it on Instagram. You are actually working for that. So amazing. I hope in the future this actually becomes a thing that Kisans can of India can use, or farmers around the
For
world.
sure,
Who
for sure.
knows?
I'm sure it will be pretty beneficial to
Yes.
them as well as the nation. So yeah, let's maybe
Yeah.
someone listens to your podcast and picks up the idea, or maybe
Ye-
I can work on it in the
Definitely.
future.
Also, I would like to ask, like, so are you a vegetarian?
I am a vegetarian.
Cool. So that is why you mentioned that you were in China and there was a lot of vegan food. So that was customized for you guys. Otherwise, Asia is very
Yeah,
bad with vegetarian food. Cool. So, like you mentioned, you're a writer, you're a designer, you're an artist.
yeah.
You love coding, you like robotics, you're into
Oh
tech.
no, I don't code. I don't code that much. I just do some coding, but
Okay.
not a lot of coding.
Cool. Okay, so it's a start. Anyways, you'll keep
Yeah.
changing your interests anyway. It's a young age, and you'll keep changing, and you're playing with things. Are you into releasing that book that you're writing on Wattpad currently? In any ideas on if you would like to in the future?
Sure, I think we will for sure. If we, of course, if we complete it, then we will release it. That's the goal, to release it in the future. In fact, as I mentioned, there were a few previous attempts of writing the book. But that time we were just directly going to release it. But then what we decided this time was that we will do a Wattpad release, and then maybe the initial few chapters we'll hold out on, and then we'll put them in the book and we'll publish it. So something like that for sure. After we complete the book, yeah, we'll publish it hopefully.
Yes, that's wonderful. I read it, and I you should definitely release that book. It's a beautiful book, to be honest.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, to add. Yeah,
Cool. Let's just talk about a little bit. Okay, being a kid from
yeah,
Mumbai, and you go to
yeah,
China. So
yeah.
any cultural shocks if you had from China? Any cultural shock if you might?
Actually, I was fascinated by how it was not culturally shocking. And the thing was that of course, what we've seen in movies is what we assume. I've seen in movies that they're wearing these traditional dresses and they're roaming around. That's not. They're just normal human beings. They're wearing t-shirts and jeans, walking around. But it was great because I could see a lot of resemblance in how especially in family structures we could see how the Chinese families were also as close knit as the Indian families. And apart
Yeah.
from that, another thing which was very very which resembled India for sure was how loud everyone was. It was horrible. Like they're just screaming on their phones like there is no one around them and they're in the house. And I'm sure all of us have seen that happening in India as well. So that was a resemblance. So no cultural shocks for sure, but a lot of shocking resemblances as I call, because I always assumed that the Chinese would be very petite and respectful to others, but no, they are very loud. So yeah, for sure. That was an interesting experience for as well.
Wonderful. Okay, cool. I thought that only Indians were loud. So I was like, jahan bhi
Oh no,
Indians रहेंगे, they'll be
you're
very.
widely mistaken. It would have, if I could speak Chinese, I would have probably given you the biography of that guy because he was screeching at the top of his lungs, and he was like speaking continuously. By the time we had exited that station, he was still speaking. So, so yeah, no, Indians are not the only ones who are loud. That's there.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay, Chinese are also loud.
Yeah.
Cool. Any one thing if you had to change from Indian education system, do you think it's amazing, or would you like if you had a chance to change any one
I
thing?
have a lot of thought. So the Indian education system, it's not perfect. That's what I would like to say. The problem is that I feel that the one method which they have of judging a person by their marks in the 10th board exams and having that very rigid curriculum, which, do you know, surprisingly in 10th grade the only history and geography you get is of India and some world war and all of that, but it is just not the correct way to understand, because if I'm going abroad and if I'm not working in India, I will know nothing about who the 42nd president of America was. I'm not even sure if there is a 42nd president. I don't know anything about American history or about French history or about European history as a whole. So I definitely think that there should be a few changes in the curriculum. Apart from that, maybe according to the skills of a particular person, you could have different types of assessments for them, because as a person who dabbles in a lot of different extracurriculars, I think that all of this effort which I'm putting in apart from my academics should definitely be considered in my board exam results, because if I'm putting in all of this extra effort, then what exactly am I getting out of it apart from the of course the gratitude and everything which I get personally, that's there, but I'm not really getting anything apart from that from the government. So yeah, and I feel if this happens, then I think there is going to be a lot of different students who will take extracurriculars up as well, because they know that there is an added incentive to them doing this, and it's not just a bunch of people clapping for you and praising you. That is not it. They will know that it's going to amount to something. So I feel a lot of different people will start taking the initiative of taking part in competitions and all of that as well. So yeah, that ends my rant. But yes, I think these points are common for a lot of different students, not only me. And this is a topic which we have talked about a lot among my friends as well and among adults. I'm sure you also converse about it with others. But yeah, I think I definitely hope someone from the government listens to the podcast and changes all of this, because maybe not for us, but then I would be extremely glad if my juniors would be able to enjoy these privileges and would be able to have a better result and a better year as well, if these changes are made. So
Exactly.
yes,
No, I totally agree with you, Palash, on this that Indian curriculars do not take you global. Like they only focus on India.
definitely.
So there should be a little more globalization that the kids get to know a little more.
Right. No, the thing is, we did get the global some part of it at least in ninth grade. But then, if you're assessing and if you're considering that the 10th grade board marks are everything, and at least that's what it is right now, then I feel there should be a certain percentage of the world heritage which should also be included, and not just be self-centered and be all about India, because after all you're sending all of we are an extension of India as a country, and what are we if we do not know about our neighbors? So yes,
Exactly. Yes, so true. And also to know about all of these, your neighbors and understand them, and then not give an exam on that again to just again
yeah,
pressurize
yeah.
them to, you need to learn about your neighbors now again. New
Yeah,
chapters
yeah,
to learn from. So it should be made easy, and
yeah.
people, there should be maybe an extracurriculars to make kids understand about this or something like that. And
Extra
also,
credit, yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And languages. I think languages should also be included. There's a lot of languages that can
Languages.
be learned in a younger age than rather in the, now.
There are a lot of Indian boards which promote different languages, but however, CBSE and ICSE, I don't think, at least not my school, does not offer a lot of
They
language options.
don't. A
Even if
lot of
there are
language.
options, You have Marathi, Hindi, and Sanskrit, which is not going to help you again on a global platform. So yeah, maybe Spanish, Latin, these languages, they're actually pretty helpful. So yeah, let's hope.
Exactly.
One can only
Yeah.
hope if these changes
One
are
can only
made.
hope, yes. Like I see Korea is also promoting a lot of jobs. Okay, then there's Mandarin is a global language. Again, there is.
Mandarin, I have a sister who lives in America,
Hmm.
and I think she's like 5 or 6 years old or something,
Hmm.
and she's learning Mandarin, and I'm so jealous of her because if I was given that opportunity, it would be great. I would already be able to converse with you, maybe with you if you were given that opportunity fluently in Mandarin. So that's definitely something which I think the Indian education system should consider, and I'm sure they will because they are progressing as well,
Yes.
and they are also learning because they are also humans. So yeah, I'm sure they'll do a great job, hopefully, in the future.
Definitely. So, hoping for a better education system and adding this and that a little bit here and there so that we can be a little
Yeah,
more global and more friendly with people. Let's say if we want to talk to Japanese people, and now we'll have an option to have those languages, and you'll not have to be jealous about those things
definitely,
anymore.
definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll mention all the links to One Last Chapter and your Instagram and everything in the description box below. Cool. So any last message that you would like to give to our listeners?
Just if you have an idea, then definitely please do work on it, and that's the only way you will be able to achieve it, because unless you will not be able to gather a lot of information from the textbook, unless you get your hands dirty and you do it, you will not be able to gain any practical knowledge, which is worth nothing if you just have book knowledge, right? So please, if you have an idea, then expand upon it, think over it, and the only way to understand if something is going to work is by doing it. This is something which my dad tells me a lot, and I'm sure everyone should follow it because that is incredibly helpful. So yeah.
Definitely a very nice message from you, Palaash. And this was wonderful having you on Inspiring Explorers. Thank you so much for, giving us so much gyan and a lot of perspectives for us.
Not at all. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
So, this was Palaash Jadhav's inspiring life journey so far and some amazing travel experiences. Thank you so much for giving your precious time to this podcast. If this episode was inspiring and insightful, please do drop a comment on my Instagram and YouTube at the rate MyBohoVoyage. Also, do check out my YouTube channel at the rate MyBohoVoyage for the video version of this episode. Please do subscribe and give a 5-star rating and hopefully write a review for Inspiring Explorers. Also, please don't forget to connect with me on Instagram and YouTube. Drop me a hi or send me a comment so that I know we are in this journey together. This is Meenakshi Srivastava, your host for Inspiring Explorers, saying goodbye. See you next week with an amazing, inspiring interview. Till then, take care.